Hi friends, welcome to this latest episode of the Nationalist View, and today we have with us a very special guest, Mr. Rahul. Rahul ji, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Rahul ji is a veteran Indian journalist who works from London and Delhi, and he's also a geopolitics expert. And we had earlier recorded a podcast with him on Balochistan, which was very well received. And now there are a lot of developments which are happening in Balochistan, so we're going to talk about this. So Rahul ji, thank you so much for taking time out from your busy schedule. So. My first question is that we have seen over the last few days a massive upsurge in the BLA attacks in the Balochistan Liberation Army attacks in Balochistan. So how do you see this? Is it different from the earlier insurgency, and why there is so much of intensity in it?
I think there are a couple of reasons. These BLA attacks go by the name of Herof 2, Operation Herof 2, and these are rather unprecedented. Why they are unprecedented is because of the massive scale. The BLA forces, which basically seek to attain an independent Balochistan, have attacked in the entire province of Balochistan, which is 40% of Pakistan's landmass. So just imagine the scale of this operation where nearly half of Pakistan is under attack. And who was being attacked? So the BLA fighters attacked the Pakistani army, garrisons, cantonments, the various police stations, the frontier corps, which is the paramilitary of the Pakistani security forces, and also uh, highways and other government installations like the district collectorate, etc., etc. So, in its scale, you just imagine two things now. 14 towns and cities were attacked simultaneously, and that covers almost 40% of Pakistan. Just imagine. The other reason is not linked to any of this, but just imagine the scene now. A large part of this portion of Pakistan is on the border with Iran. And the situation in Iran has been very, very concerning. Now, with the American fleet close to Iranian waters, things will take a grave security situation.
So Rahulji, there have been a lot of videos which have been coming out from Balochistan on social media, which show that the Pakistani army and the Pakistani paramilitary forces, so they abandoned their posts, they ran away, and there is a general sense basically that probably in large part of Balochistan now the Pakistani military has lost its control. So, how do you assess the situation in this context? Whether the Pak military is losing its grip on Balochistan?
I think yes. The Pakistani army, which is otherwise a fairly well-trained army, equipped with enough and considerable weapons, supported by China and often supported by the US in terms of defense and aircraft, uh, it has been on the back foot in Balochistan, certainly. The reason is Balochistan is an arid landmass, mountainous. The northern parts of Balochistan can be covered in snow often, like Quetta, the capital. Uh, and with a sparse population, absolutely underdeveloped, really, really poor, Balochistan is almost ungovernable in a very large, way. And considering that the public opinion amongst the Baloch is very negative regarding the Pakistani government, the local Baloch government itself in Balochistan, and of course Pakistani army and the intelligence agencies, uh, I can totally say that things are difficult for the Pakistani army in Balochistan.
So,
Uh,
yeah, please go
yeah.
ahead.
I mean, not to forget that the Baloch feel marginalized because of the massive resource and mineral exploitation that takes place in Balochistan.
I was coming to that. No, you said that the BLA also has it appears BLA also has a lot of local support, because without local support you cannot carry out such operations. So why? And you mentioned that there is considerable negative image of Pakistan government, and especially the military establishment, as far as the local population of Balochistan is considered. So if you can, break it down a little bit for our viewers, that why there is so much of anger against Pakistani military establishment and Pakistan government, and even the local Baloch government, even the local government in, I would say, Balochistan, amongst common Baloch people.
Right. So you see, one of the pillars in any democracy are elections and how well are they conducted. So the elections in Balochistan are always rigged. As it is, elections in Pakistan are rigged and they're manipulated by the Pakistani army. And the situation is worse uh, in Balochistan. So the Baloch political parties have absolutely, uh, there's no love lost for them amongst the common Baloch. The Baloch people have been boycotting the elections. They're not going out to vote. So it just does not matter to the local population as to who forms a government in Balochistan. Because for them, any government in Balochistan is basically a puppet of the Islamabad regime, the army and the government. So this is one, elections. Number two, uh, the developmental data regarding education, healthcare, common facilities like water and electricity, uh, they are just not available to the Baloch people. So these parameters, as we mentioned them as human resources, uh, uh, they are absolutely low in Balochistan. They are probably as poor as is often said about sub-Saharan Africa. And this has become a very big grievance amongst the Baloch people. Now, I think what Pakistani politicians, besides the army, have failed to understand is that over the last many years now, uh, the Baloch have been feeling completely marginalized in terms of jobs, in terms of economic livelihoods, and also in terms of the fact that a lot of Baloch live across the border in Iran. The fencing of the border with Iran is a very big issue with the Baloch because they feel that they are cut off from their families, relatives, and the other Baloch. The other thing is with China's CPEC, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, coming in a very big way in Balochistan, the access for the Baloch people, a lot of who were basically marginal fishermen, the access of the Baloch to the sea, the Indian Ocean, and the Arabian Sea has been cut off. That is because of the security sensitivities of the Chinese. So the Baloch feel that they can't trade with Iran, number one. Number two, they can't go out into the Indian Ocean and the Arabian Sea for fisheries and fishing. And now, because of the presence of CPEC and the Chinese in a very big way in Balochistan, there are lots of checkpoints, etc. There's a lot of security and frisking. And the Baloch feel that in their own land, Balochistan, they have been marginalized. They can't go without getting frisked, without getting checked, without security. And often at these security posts, they have to bribe. They are not allowed. They feel humiliated. On top of it, water, electricity, etc., many of these things have to be brought from Iran. They have to be imported from Iran. Even the oil in Balochistan has to be either smuggled or brought in from Iran. So the Baloch are living in really pathetic conditions.
And how big is the issue of enforced disappearances?
Oh, it's a very big issue. Uh, so these are the kill and dump squads in Balochistan, and they operate at two levels. At one level, these squads are run by the Pakistani agencies, the army, the military, the intelligence, etc., etc. At another level, local warlords, smugglers, religious people with a fanatical religious belief who are powerful in terms of both might, muscle, money. So they are doing all of it. So they kidnap the local Baloch youth, they are interrogated, they are disappeared for a considerable while, and then you'll find bodies which are mutilated, which are tortured. So these bodies are found strewn across the arid landscape of Balochistan. So what it does is it not only alienates the Baloch people, the family, the community, but then it proves more fodder for Baloch insurgency.
So, Rahulji, you operate from, you work from London also, and you have done a lot of work on, Balochistan in terms of writing. So, and you have interviewed a lot of Baloch leaders outside or Baloch people who belong to the Baloch diaspora. So, how the Baloch community outside Pakistan is looking at this Operation Herof 2.0?
So there are a number of things here. You see, the number of Baloch people, the diaspora outside Pakistan is not very much. As it is, the Baloch population is a very marginal population in Pakistan. Though they have a very large land area, but the population is very small. So consequently, the Baloch people outside Pakistan are in very small numbers. But what they have been doing is, uh, and recently a very important thing happened back home in Pakistan, which was that one of a foremost and a well-respected and a powerful lawyer, Iman Hazari, and her husband, who have been espousing the Baloch cause, they were arrested. So they have been given very long prison sentences, and that has really inflamed the Baloch. And the result is that many people in the Baloch diaspora, along with local activists in European countries, are carrying out protests outside the Pakistani embassies or high commissions. This is one. The other thing is a lot of the information, the videos, the photos, and the press releases that have been issued by uh, the communications teams of the militant organizations, the insurgent organizations in Balochistan, are actually being released from the US and other foreign countries. So, this is how uh, the Baloch diaspora comes together to amplify the voice and amplify what is happening in Balochistan. This is very important also because Balochistan is largely covered under a media shroud. Neither the foreign media nor Pakistani media is allowed into Balochistan. So, very little news comes out of that land. And what the Baloch diaspora is doing outside is also important because for the Western governments and even the Western media, Balochistan is not a big issue. The Western governments would rather support Pakistan, the Pakistani army, the Pakistani government, than they would talk about the human rights violations in Balochistan.
Rahulji, my last question is, that every time there is an insurgency, there is a operation by the insurgents in Balochistan. So there is a massive crackdown after that by the Pakistani military. So it becomes also kind of, a self-fueling kind of an exercise also, because then there are more disappearances, and there is a considerable kind of you can say torture and human rights violations of the Baloch people. So after this, the kind of blowback which the Pakistani military has got from BLA and the local Baloch population in Operation Herof 2.0. So, how do you see, is there going to be a massive crackdown by the Pakistani military in days to come, or will they do some course correction?
Okay. So your question has two parts, right? One is the crackdown. The crackdown has already begun. One is that the Pakistani army and the security forces, despite this massive nationalist mood in Balochistan, were caught by surprise by these attacks by the BLA. Like I said, the scale of the attacks is very important. Uh, so, Balochistan towns and cities could be very sparsely populated, very small populations, but just imagine right from the very important, strategically important ports of Gwadar and Pasni. Gwadar is important because of the uh, Chinese presence, because China has built an international airport and a port. The port can be used for both military, I mean, that is naval purposes, as well as civilian and export and import purposes. That is Gwadar. So there was considerable trouble in Gwadar. And the attacks also happened in Pasni. Pasni is another port close to Gwadar. Pasni has become important lately because last year, uh, it seems the Pakistani government made a proposal to the US, to President Trump, that the considerable mineral wealth in the form of copper and gold and a few other minerals can be taken out from Balochistan and shipped out to the US from Pasni. So, Pakistan had cited a $1.6 billion investment in Pasni. Now, this was not supposed to be an investment like the Gwadar port that China is building. It was supposed to be more of mineral-related development that the American companies can come. And I think one a US company has already been identified. And I think some minerals were also shipped to this US company from there. So these attacks took place on the port towns, Gwadar and Pasni. They have taken place in Quetta, the capital of Balochistan, which borders Afghanistan, and they have taken place in other towns which border Iran as well. So the entire length and breadth of Balochistan has been compromised that way. Now, Pakistan obviously responded with force. So they have brought in drones, they have brought in helicopter gunships, but the drones and helicopter gunships had been used earlier also over the last 3, 4 years as well. In fact, about 4 years back, around the same time, Feb or March, the BLA had attacked in a very big manner in Noshki and Panjgur. So these two towns at that time the BLA fighters were able to attack the garrison and they were able to enter the garrison and hold the two garrisons and ward off the Pakistani security forces for almost 2 days. So that was again very, very big. But this time, what these people have done is even bigger. Uh, so Pakistan has earlier also responded with military might, which they have done even now. What they have done also this time is uh, the Baloch fighters who got killed, their relatives are being picked up. They have cancelled the passports or they have seized the passports and other important materials that were with the Baloch people. Uh, Colleges and hostels, etc., universities, they are being raided by the Pakistani forces. This is what the Baloch people have told me. uh, for us and for a large part of the media, it is very difficult to find the extent of truth, because nobody's there on the ground. But I think it seems to be largely true. The second part was the humanitarian response. I think during Imran Khan's time as the prime minister a few years back, he was trying to, you know, uh, create a package for humanitarian assistance and development projects in Balochistan. But before he could do anything about it, he was immediately shunted out. And like so many other political activists and these lawyers now, he's behind bars. I think one very important point, which is exceptionally important, is Why did the BLA launch Herof 2? And why does scale and size matter here? What are they trying to do? What are they trying to say? And was there an immediate provocation for this operation? There was no immediate provocation. So why have they done it? I think over the past 1 year, as the race has intensified between USA and China to have more robust supply chains over critical minerals, and the competition intensifies, Pakistani politicians and the Field Marshal Asim Munir, they found it easy to cozy up to USA, citing Balochistan's mineral wealth. And with so many plans, and I think we have this very famous or rather infamous photograph of an army general holding those uh, rocks in hand, showing them off to President Trump. So I think the BLA wanted to send a message not just to the Pakistani uh, government, but also to all other countries, including China and the US and the other Western powers, that Balochistan's minerals are not up for sale. Now, there's a very big difference here between how China will operate and how the USA will operate. China can still afford to mine those minerals at a cost, which it is doing. For the USA, it is not so because the USA, American forces, or American state security agencies are not going to come and mine. It has to be a private company, a minerals and mines development company. So the private sector is not going to come just like that if they find the security situation so unsafe. So I think we've spoken about how the Pakistani government has reacted. So they have been obviously uh, there's been a crackdown, uh, and that's been a military crackdown. Number one. Number two, there's been a crackdown amongst the people, amongst the population. Number three, there is no talk about development for the Baloch people, no talk about livelihoods or jobs and employment, no talk about opening up the ocean for the Baloch fishermen, no talk about allowing trade between the Baloch on either side of the Pakistan-Iran border. There's no talk about, education and other things. And the Baloch feel quite, marginalized about it, and they have taken up arms for that. The other thing was the focus on Balochistan for its mineral wealth. So Pakistan was trying to not just, I mean, China is already there, but they were trying to get more Western powers there, more American companies. And this operation, which has lasted 5 days today, is unprecedented in its scale, in its ferocity. I mean, if Pakistan has to learn a lesson, it has to be that the route to having a prosperous or a safe Balochistan goes through development. So that's it. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Rahulji, for breaking this down, and thank you for sharing your deep insights. And we'll be back soon with another podcast soon, and we hope to host again Rahulji soon because Balochistan is a constantly developing story, and we'll continue to keep a track of it. And thank you, Rahulji. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me for this interview. Nice speaking with you.